Hey, this is Mark Anderson. I just wanted to let anybody who's interested know about the MasterTrac software that I wrote starting 1984, 30 plus years ago. MasterTrac is a manufacturing management system for small aerospace companies up to, say, $20 some million a year. We had companies that manufactured just all kinds of stuff for aerospace, nose gear, parts for the Patriot missiles, etc. It included a full inventory system where you could order through purchase orders, receive into inventory, transfer out to jobs, and the costing would go with it to the jobs, quoting system, a full job entry, manufacturing delivery, tracking system, including work in process, scheduling, accounting, full accounting, right from not just purchase orders and accounts payables, but writing checks, accounts receivables, cash receipts entry, check register, general ledger. We actually printed the financial statements for companies if they wanted to use this, and it worked well. In its heyday, we probably had 300 users. Currently, there are probably still only a handful of companies using it, with maybe 30 users still using it. But MasterTrac was very powerful, and we had a system underneath the jobs that allowed them to put in deliveries, the customer requirements for when they needed to be delivered. But then manufacturing releases could be independent of those. They could make them all at once. They could make them multiple different manufacturing runs, however they wanted to. And then under each of those releases, they could have a list of items that they needed to do, different steps in the manufacturing process with lead times, setup hours, how many parts per hour, scheduled start and finish, etc. And those were then tracked. Employees could log into a time clock and scan a barcode for what operation they were working on in the job, and it would track their time from start to finish, and they could put in the number of pieces that they completed. And this is the bills system here, where they could enter in accounts payable. They had purchase orders that they could enter. They did shippers right from, that's a sales order. They could do shippers for the parts. The system was very user-friendly. You're just going to have to take my word for it, but there were people who wouldn't buy systems that cost 2 or 3 times as much, even though they had the money, just because MasterTrac worked so well. We used an SQL backend. There were about 90 different tables. All the data was normalized so that the data was stored in just one place. No double entry inside of this system. Things just flowed and worked well. Probably 100 different reports that I wrote for this system, including all the financial reports and time reports, inventory reports, numerous job reports. Anyway, MasterTrac was an exciting system. It's sort of hit its end of life several years ago, but I still have people using it. And we started in '84 in DOS using DataFlex, if you've ever heard of that, by a company in Florida. When we went to Windows and used SQL as the backend, we used Clarion for Windows. another 4GL system, that programming language that had a database of its own that we used shortly and then went to SQL in the back end.